Welcome to our presentation today of obtaining a speech generating device through the health plans. And we are excited to be here today as part of the Global Autism Conference for the Autism Society of Greater Phoenix. My name is Anthony McClaws. I am an occupational therapist. I'm the owner of Therapy One. I am an AAC evaluator, and I also am an assistive technology specialist.
Hello, my name is Allie Greenwood. I work with Therapy One. I work with assisting with their AAC program. I've been involved in AAC since 2016, and I have a master's in education.
As we start the presentation, we want to just review briefly our learning objectives and our outcomes. And I want to let you know just a brief history of our experience with AAC here in Arizona. So beginning in January of 2021, the AAC benefit transitioned from the Division of Developmental Disabilities over to the health plans. And so today, our objective is to help you as AAC users, as family members, as providers, as educators, to understand what that new process is here in Arizona. And our goal is by the end of our session today, you'll have better familiarity with how to pursue an AAC evaluation and training, and also what some of your resources are for doing that. So I want to start off though by talking for just a minute about what AAC is. And we included a definition here from the American Speech and Hearing Association, ASHA, and augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC, is an area of clinical practice that supplements or compensates for impairments in speech, language production, and or comprehension, including spoken and written modes of communication. And we want to remind you that here in Arizona, you may hear a variety of different terms used. So this definition is more of a global definition of AAC, but historically here in Arizona, it's also been known as AAC. So when DDD managed this benefit, it was primarily referred to as AAC. But also you're going to hear the term speech generating device, and that's a term that you might use or hear in regards to the insurance side of this benefit. And so today you're going to hear AAC. We might also call them speech generating devices, but also just to be aware that AAC falls under the larger umbrella of assistive technology. And so sometimes maybe in your district, you might need to ask if there's an assistive technology or an AT department, and that might be how you get access to the AAC department or AAC specialists in your area.
We did want to discuss a few myths within AAC. Just the intent is sort of to increase awareness. And the myths we want to discuss, there are 3 of them, are taken from the ASHA website. The first myth reads, caregivers and professionals may believe that AAC reduces motivation to improve natural speech and could delay language development. However, myth dispelled, AAC use may help improve natural speech when used in a multimodal approach. The second myth, consumers and professionals may think that young children are not ready for AAC until they reach school age. This is also a myth. Early AAC use can help develop speech and language and can increase vocabulary for children with developmental delays aged 3 years and younger. It is called early intervention for a reason. Essentially, intervention at an early age doesn't require a member to be in kindergarten or older. We have heard that before. Myth 3, caregivers and professionals may think that cognitive skills such as demonstrating communicative intent and understanding cause and effect are prerequisite to AAC use. That is a myth too. However, impaired cognition does not preclude communication. So next, after we've dispelled myths and defined AAC, we're just going to explain what this process looks like from start to finish. There's a lot of misinformation going around. Contact the health plan, contact this person, you needed this. But the truth of the matter is, in order to initiate an AAC evaluation, as whoever you are in their life, essentially, if you are a support coordinator, if you are a speech therapist, if you're a family, the first step is to contact an agency that contracted with their health plan. So either Mercy Care Medicaid or United Healthcare Community Plan. That agency will let the family, or that agency will either let the family or you know what documents are required in order to proceed. So typically or generally, they're going to be very similar documents, but I'm sure that each agency has their own documents with regard to what a referral looks like from a speech therapist. For instance, Therapy One does have their own referral form. It's located on our website. We do always have a speech therapist. If there is one in place, fill out the referral form as part of one of the documents that are required.
And you'll see here on this slide that Mercy Care and United Healthcare Community Plan have their own contracted agencies that they work with. And in our handouts, you will see a link to both health plans' websites where you can get an update or an updated view of who these agencies are, because they update their websites. And you'll see on the left side that Mercy Care contracts currently with Advanced Therapy Solutions, District Medical Group, which is CRS here in Maricopa County, and Northern Arizona University. We're from Therapy One, and also United Cerebral Palsy of Central Arizona. And on the right side, you'll see that United Healthcare Community Plan contracts with all of those same agencies, but in addition, there's an agency called CASA Speech Therapy. Also, when you click on the link for each of these health plans, you will be able to see which geographic areas each of these agencies covers, and you'll get their contact information so that you can call them and ask some specific questions that we're going to go over in just a few minutes. I want to talk for a minute about who Therapy One is. So Therapy One is a Arizona company that has provided school-based and community-based therapy services for over 20 years. And since 2016, we have provided the AAC benefit through DDD and now through the health plans. And we provide AAC evaluations and trainings for families who are under the services of either Mercy Care or United Healthcare Community Plan. And when you call an agency and are pursuing an AAC evaluation and training, there are some important questions that you should ask them. because the different agencies may provide these evaluations in different settings. So it's important for you to know that some of the agencies provide virtual evaluations, others provide live evaluations, some are primarily clinic-based. And as far as Therapy One is concerned, we provide AAC evaluations and trainings in homes and in other community-based settings, such as schools or other places where families and teams have arranged for the evaluation to take place. But primarily, we do our evaluations in homes. We accept all private insurance plans for Medicaid members, including for all Medicaid members, including Medicare. Our providers are skilled and have been doing AAC evaluations and trainings for many, many years. A majority of our evaluators have been doing AAC for over 20 years. And so when you use our services to provide AAC evaluations and trainings, you will know that you are working with a team that has a lot of deep experience in the field. And we always strive to be the most helpful and friendly and expert team to provide this service in Arizona.
With regard to the presentation, I would say the main purpose or learning objective is to teach everyone what the process looks like. As stated before, there's kind of a lot of information going around that's misinformation, which then causes extra work or extra time on the family's behalf. Often we have families saying, "Oh, it took us 6 months just to get to you." So we would really like to alleviate those sort of issues that the families have with regard to how much time it takes to reach out to us. So as stated, we do have handouts that show contact information for all agencies. Ideally, someone would be handing this handout to a family and saying, "Okay, the first step is to contact an agency. Here are their numbers. And all they would have to do is give us a call, because once they give us a call, we would explain to them what documents are required in order to proceed with an evaluation." So first step, contact an agency. With regard to contacting an agency, Therapy One in particular, Therapy One requires essentially 4 documents in order to proceed with an evaluation for a speech generating device. The first item will always be a current copy of all insurance cards front and back. The second item will be a current copy of what's called the PCSP. That's the Person-Centered Service Plan. Essentially, it's that 90-day planning document that the support coordinator and the family go over together. Typically, a family will have a copy. If not, the support coordinator can always send that to us directly, or send it to the family, who would then send it to us. If you are a speech therapist, often the speech agency should have a copy of the PCSP on file anyway. The third item would be a prescription. Prescription stating something along the lines of an evaluation for a speech generating device. And then the fourth item would be a referral from the SLP. So essentially that's 1, current copy of insurance card, 2, PCSP, 3, prescription, and 4, the referral from the ongoing speech therapist. If there is no ongoing speech therapist, that's kind of something we can discuss with the family on a case-by-case basis. See who would actually fill out the referral then, if there is no ongoing speech therapist in place. So what happens after the documents are submitted? Very common question. After documents are submitted, it depends on the health plan really. Mercy Care does not require prior authorization, so you would just move into the scheduling phase. Once documents are submitted, we reach out to schedule within 5 to 7 business days with the family. On the United Healthcare side, or UHCCP side, they do require prior authorization for all services. we would submit her prior authorization, which typically takes about 24 to 48 hours. So really, there's just kind of I would say, a 2 more day delay in the process for scheduling with the family. So Mercy Care right away, no prior auth, and then UHCCP prior auth, possibly 2 days. Okay.
So what does an AAC evaluation look like? Well, for therapy 1, we typically send a 2-person evaluation team to your home. And the 2 providers are a speech language pathologist who is the team lead, as an AAC is a speech therapy. It's a type of speech therapy evaluation. And the second provider or evaluator is either an occupational therapist or a physical therapist. And those 2 will complete an evaluation. The family or individual being evaluated can also invite whoever else they feel would be necessary to complete that evaluation. And so we typically leave that in the family, to the family's discretion. If they would like members of the school team to be present, if they would like 1 or more of their providers from DDD to be present, that is at the family's discretion. We take into consideration, how this individual will react to a lot of people. And so if we need to have some people observing virtually because the individual might be overwhelmed with too many people, we take that into consideration. So again, the evaluation team consists of 2 therapists from therapy 1, and we will bring at least 3 unique communication devices to trial with the individual. Sometimes we might trial even more than 3, but both health plans recommend that we trial at least 3. And these devices vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. Many of them are tablet devices, but there's also mid-tech devices that might have paper overlays, and so we will bring a variety of those to demonstrate and to trial. And what we often find is that the individuals that we're evaluating have had some experience or some exposure to speech generating devices. Maybe a classmate or a therapist has used their iPad with a communication app. So they've often been exposed to some form of higher tech AAC. Where does an AAC evaluation take place? A majority of the evaluations performed by therapy 1 take place in the individual's home. We feel that this is the best natural environment, but we do make exceptions because sometimes a parent or a caregiver might share that the individual might do better in a clinic setting where they're familiar with, or in another location. And so we take that into consideration when we're planning where to hold the evaluation. We also have done evaluations in school settings. And so again, that's up to the family and to the providers and the school district in that case to arrange for that evaluation. And most evaluations take around 2 hours. Sometimes it might stretch more than that if we need to come back for a follow-up visit. And in regards to the motor therapist that's involved, when an individual has some significant motor and access issues, when maybe attention to task can be a challenge, this is where the OT and PT can be or especially involved. And if a device needs to be secured to a wheelchair or to a mount of that can be used in the school or at home, then that's something that would be assessed also during the evaluation. When you are calling an agency to inquire about an AAC evaluation, make sure you're asking them all of these questions. Who is going to be doing the evaluation? What experience do they have? What will this evaluation look like? Where will this evaluation take place? And be aware that there are some agencies that are virtual and there's some that do only clinic-based. And so you'd want to make sure you ask those questions when you're setting up the evaluation.
So a quick rundown of the process thus far is submit the documents, we'll schedule the evaluation, the therapist come out with at least 3 unique devices. The evaluation typically takes about 2 hours to complete. And then the next step would be the therapist will need to write the report. The reports, the AAC evaluation report is pretty extensive. They're typically about 13 pages in length. And so we give the therapist plenty of time to write the evaluation report, and then we would submit the order. So the differences between the 2 health plans, though, on the Mercy Care side is we obtain the evaluation, the completed evaluation report from the therapist, and we place the order through their device hub. They're called Med1. And in order to let the family know that that's what's been completed, we do send the family an email stating, hey, just letting you know, we placed the order and here's a copy of the report. We do the same thing for UHCCP members. However, on the UHCCP side, we do need to obtain another prescription for the device itself. The first prescription obtained at the beginning of the process is this prescription for the evaluation. After the report submitted, we would then obtain another script for the actual device, and then we would place the order. At which time we would do the same thing with the family and just say, hey, just reaching out, letting you know we placed the order, and here's a copy of the report for you. So that's just kind of the differences between the 2 health plans. They're not very major, but one of the main questions that we come across, well, I come across every day is, well, you know, how long is it going to take to get the device? So in answer to that question, it depends on private insurance if you have it, excuse me, if a family has it. It also depends on the device that's recommended. Some of the devices ship relatively quickly. They're in stock. Other devices are made to order and take a much longer time to ship. So all things being equal, these are things that a family should know during the evaluation if that's a concern. So for instance, they have an evaluation and, you know, they really, really want to get the device as soon as possible. One thing I tell families is if you wanted to get the device, say, before school, or if you had another device before and the other one was broken and there's an immediate need for the device, you know, don't hesitate to ask the evaluator, well, how long is this device going to take to ship? And so it's just kind of one of those things that during an evaluation, the therapist will talk to the families about how long is the device going to ship? What are the support mechanisms for the device? Meaning, does this device come with lifetime SLP support? Some do, some don't. Other times, you know, families may be interested in what kind of repair support looks like and how long it takes to get a repaired device back. Other questions possibly about specific cases or accessories that may be needed and what turnaround time for that looks like. Is there a trial required? I mean, there are lots of things that we, when a family calls initially, we just, well, I go back and forth with the family and just say, you know, essentially what are the important aspects to you and to the member with regard to, you know, what this process looks like. Here are your choices. We want you to make the most informed choice. The family, of course, is a part of deciding, you know, what device that they would like. You know, sometimes there are instances in which there isn't an ongoing SLP, and they have no intention of obtaining an ongoing SLP. And so a value to a family would be, we really want a device that has lifetime SLP support. That's important to us. Whereas other families don't really, it's not a concern of theirs. So anyway, essentially that is what the process looks like, what an evaluation looks like, and then what happens. Typically, the device manufacturer will reach out to a family and give them an estimated time of arrival. If a family has a question about when that device is going to ship, we always say, go ahead and email me at Therapy One, and then I can reach out to the device manufacturer to see if we can obtain an estimated time of arrival. So essentially just a quick rundown. The vendor notifies the family the device is going to ship. Sometimes they notify us and sometimes they don't. And instead of what used to happen at DDD prior to 2021 was the device would ship directly to the support coordinator. The main difference is now the device does ship directly to the family's home. They do contact the family to make sure that they will be home because they typically would need to sign for the delivery. So they coordinate delivery, make sure someone is home to sign for it. We did discuss how long devices take to ship. Some may take 2 weeks, some may take 4 months. You just kind of, it's one of those things where, we just kind of find out on the back end and then go from there. And then the last thing we do is when a family receives their device, we ask that they reach out to us to schedule the training. Sometimes the manufacturer will let us know it's shipped, and other times they won't. And so we do say, to the family, like, we're not going to leave you with a device you don't know how to use. You are granted training. Anyone who needs training, anyone who's part of the team, essentially, can really be involved in the training. It's just something that goes through the family, and the family would say, oh yeah, I want grandma to be there. I want the ongoing SLP to be there, and they're more than welcome to invite whoever they would like to the training. But anyway, in essence, when the device is received, we do ask them to reach out to schedule the training, and then we go ahead and schedule that.
So thank you for joining us today for our presentation at the Global Autism Conference. We have a handout that will have our contact information and some of the other information that we referenced today in regards to the health plans and the contact information. We will always be happy to help you if you have questions navigating this process for someone you know or for yourself. And so please don't hesitate to reach out to us.